Excuse me. Thanks, Justin. I suspect that if we took a poll of our members, we would find that the lives of an overwhelming majority have been impacted by cancer in some way. I also suspect that the majority of the people in this room have a fairly good understanding of just how widespread and dangerous a disease cancer can be, along with, of course, the importance of combating it. Our speaker this morning has a keen understanding and interest in this, and spends every day of his career on the international front line of the fight against cancer. Dr. Ed Partridge is the director of the UAB Comprehensive Cancer Center, a gynecologist, oncologist, and a professor who has helped create a community of cancer caregivers in Alabama. He recently received the Birmingham Business Journal's 2009 Healthcare Heroes Physician Provider Award, and in November of 2010, he was elected president of the American Cancer Society's National Board of Directors. Dr. Partridge's work has helped our state make tremendous strides in the treatment of cancer. He helped gain Alabama's participation in the Breast and Cervical Cancer Early Detection Program, which allows women diagnosed with an abnormal mammogram to receive treatment regardless of financial means. He has led the Alabama Black Belt Cancer Linkage Initiative, which assures that men and women diagnosed with cancer in the Black Belt will get state-of-the-art care. He is a co-founder of the Alabama Partnership for Cancer Control in the Underserved, and he played a major role in the establishment of the Joe Lee Griffin Hope Lodge, which provides housing in Birmingham for out-of-town patients receiving cancer treatment. Dr. Partridge is a native of Demopolis, Alabama. He received his undergraduate degree from the University of Alabama and his medical degree from the UAB School of Medicine. He completed residencies and a fellowship at UAB in obstetrics and gynecology and was an ACS clinical fellow. His entire career has been spent at UAB. He rose from an instructor to hold the endowed Margaret Cameron Spain Chair in Obstetrics and Gynecology. He served for many years as director of the Division of Gynecologic Oncology and holds senior positions in the UAB Center for Aging and UAB Gene Therapy Center. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Ed Partridge.
Thanks, Sam, and it's a pleasure to be here with you guys and ladies today. I was going to talk about two things. First, tell you a little bit about the Comprehensive Cancer Center, and then talk about what you can do as individuals to make a major impact on the mortality from cancer in the country. And I have less time now than I thought I had, so I'm just going to actually skip quickly through some of the slides about the Cancer Center and talk more about what you can do as an individual to make a difference in your state, region, and nation. So we have a mission is to provide the highest quality of life for people diagnosed with cancer. We advance the world's understanding of cancer through research, and we translate that knowledge into prevention, treatment, detection, and survivorship. And we have a bold vision, and that's to eliminate cancer as a public health problem. I'm going to make an argument in a few minutes that we can achieve this goal in the first half of this century. And in point of fact, you can have a greater impact on our ability to do that than I can as the Cancer Center director. And that's just by being good citizens in this state. So I want to talk about what distinguishes a comprehensive cancer center from other cancer centers in the state and region. So UAB is an NCI, that's National Cancer Institute, designated comprehensive cancer center. In order to get that designation, you have to do several things. One, you have to have a vigorous research program in basic science, clinical science, translational science, and prevention and control. And we have 300 scientists and clinician scientists at UAB who do conduct that type of research. We also are able, because of the size of our center compared to other centers in the state and region, to field multidisciplinary teams of clinicians and clinician scientists to take care of a specific cancer. So if you come to UAB with a breast cancer or a colorectal cancer or a lung cancer, you will get a medical oncologist, a radiation oncologist, and a surgical oncologist that focuses in your specific cancer. Other cancer centers have those types of oncologists, but they're more generalists. That is, they have to take care of multiple different types of disease. So, by definition, we lead and others have to follow. There are only 40 NCI-designated cancer centers in the entire country. We're the only one in the 6-state Deep South region that includes South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Arkansas. And we've been here for 40 years. We were one of the original 8, along with institutions like MD Anderson, Memorial Sloan Kettering, Fox Chase Cancer Center. I'm going to skip over to this slide, which gives our progress in the last 3 years. I've been the director for 3 years, and we've seen an increase in our total research funding from $80 million to $114 million. That's what's called direct funds. There's another $40 million that comes on top of that to the institution. All of you saw the economic impact of UAB on the city, region, and state a couple of weeks ago that was published in the Birmingham News. The Cancer Center and the clinical programs around cancer account for about a third of that economic impact. So the $140 million of extramural funding that we bring into the institution is about 30% of the total funding that comes to UAB, and we're very proud of that, obviously. I'm going to skip through all of these. I can come back and talk about them later because I really want to. I will stop right here just to give you an example of some of the things that this institution in this state does. We were the leaders of a worldwide trial that established cetuximab and radiation as a standard of care for advanced head and neck cancer. So in 1999, scientists in our institution made the observation that if you added a monoclonal antibody that attacked what's called the epidermal growth factor receptor in head and neck cancer, that would increase the response rate for radiation. That observation was made first in the test tube, then in animals, then in a clinical trial, and that led to the worldwide clinical trial that led to establishing that combination as the standard of care across the world for advanced head and neck cancer. The addition of the antibody adds 10% to the survival for that usually fatal disease. We also developed an antibody called tigatuzumab, which is an antibody that attacks the death receptor 5 antibody, which prevents a cell, once it becomes abnormal, from recognizing that it's abnormal and undergoing what's called programmed cell death or apoptosis. So that's a concept in which a cell recognizes itself that it's abnormal, beginning to take on cancer-like characteristics, and therefore basically commit suicide. All of us sitting in this audience right now probably have thousands, if not millions, of cells that are abnormal, but our own immune system is recognizing that that's the case, and they're undergoing what's called programmed cell death. That is, your body's getting rid of them before they become a problem. We now have that antibody in clinical trials in pancreas, breast, and ovarian cancer. We discovered Th17, which is a third type of T cell that was previously unrecognized in the world. And it has significant implications for cancer immune response. And we developed a whole new chemopreventive agent called UAB30, which has all of the efficacious impact of targetin, which is used in some head and neck cancers and other cancers without the toxicity of that targetin. And that's just four of many that I could name. But let me go to I think the most important part for you to hear today. So we've got 20 minutes. So if you look at the estimated cancer deaths in the United States, you'll see that for men and women, lung and bronchus is number 1. For men, prostate number 2, breast number 2 for women. And for both men and women, colon and rectal cancer. So what's significant about that? What's sad about the fact that 70% of the cancer deaths in the United States come from those diseases? Well, what's sad about it is that those deaths are completely preventable by what we already know today. So if we eliminated tobacco in the United States, or got it down to single-digit consumption, if all women in the United States got mammograms on an annual basis after the age of 40, and if all men and women got colorectal screening after the age of 50, if that was the case, then 70% of the deaths that occur in the United States today from cancer would not occur. Or another way to look at it is most of you sitting in here are white and college educated. If everybody in the United States had the same mortality rates that you do, there would be 270,000 less cancer deaths per year in the United States. So what do you do that's different as a white, college-educated person? Number 1, you don't smoke. At least I hope you don't. Number 2, when you get to be 50, and I know you guys aren't there yet, you're going to know that it's important to get your colonoscopy, and you'll get it. And for the women, when you get to be 40, you're going to know that it's important to get your mammogram, and you're going to get it. And as I look around the table, I don't see any obese people. And I suspect that a substantial percentage of you guys actually are physically active. And I'm going to show you why that's important in just a minute. So your mortality rates for cancer are going to be low compared to someone who doesn't have a college education, who doesn't have the income that you have. So cancer death rates have been going down in the United States since about 1990. So prior to 1990, through recorded history, or when at least when we've had data, cancer rates have been going up. But in 1990, we began to turn the corner. And for men, that corner was turned because of, as you can see, the top curve, which is lung and bronchus, started down, and obviously that decline is secondary to decreases in tobacco consumption. You see the decline in prostate cancer, probably secondary to better treatment. Colorectal cancer, the green line, going down,